I was down on the Inglewood radio station, and we had run a few of those commercials, and the sales manager came out, and he said, I have to tell you, that commercial, it is so bad. That jingle is so bad. He said, it's huge. At any rate, I don't know if, is this working? No? My name's Stephen R. Deutsch, and I've been honored to serve as County Commissioner for the past 4 years. I was born in New York City and grew up there. We were poor. I didn't know it. When I graduated high school, and I was unique because about half of my senior class either ended up dead, incarcerated, or a whole bunch of strange other places. So I enlisted in the United States Coast Guard. I don't ask for coasties anymore because there's never any. There's a lot of Marines, Army, Navy. I never find any Coast Guard guys. Any Coast Guard guys? Cool. Okay. But at any rate, it's so neat because I think I'm the first veteran that's been on the commission for a while. Anyway, we grew up poor. We didn't have an awful lot. We had our family, we had our faith, and probably not much more. I started working at 7. I used to deliver orders outside the supermarket and carry them home. And on occasion, I would take 2 bags, 3 blocks, go up 5 flights of stairs, and the elderly lady would give me a nickel, and I would smile and say, "Thank you, ma'am." Yeah. Nickel could actually buy something back then. At any rate, so I've got a unique work ethic, and that's always been important to me, and it's been challenged an awful lot by my mom, who lived in Sarasota for about 40 years, so she passed away 3 years ago. And I'm familiar with here. I first came down to Port Charlotte in the 60s, and I remember driving out Midway, and my former in-laws had one of those little 2-bedroom Mackle homes. Actually, it looks better now than it did in 1967. But I knew then that this is where I wanted to retire, and this is where I wanted to be. And the Lord has blessed my life. I've had an incredible experiential background. I've had an opportunity to work as city and town planner and be a bureaucrat, and I directed a housing authority and a community development agency, and I had those experiences. I also was blessed by the fact that I'm the first one in my family that went ahead and got an advanced education, and I'm sort of proud to say not only did I get my bachelor's degree, I have a couple of earned graduate degrees and a whole bunch of certifications that fill up boxes all over the house. Anyway, I ran and managed my own business for about 30 years, probably a couple more than that. And my dad was living with me, and when Dad passed away, I wanted to be closer to Mom. And so I moved into Northwest Port Charlotte, which was literally only 35 minutes away from where she lived up off of Clark Road. And I came down here and I got involved with the Homeless Coalition, I got involved with my church, I got involved with the YMCA, and so, and then I made the mistake, I'll put that in quotes, of getting involved with the Charlotte County Republican Committee. And I got very involved. I ended up heading up the Get Out the Vote campaign for John McCain. And I'm proud to say, I'm not sure if it was because of me or in spite of me, but Charlotte County had the highest percentage of votes for a Republican candidate in the state of Florida. And we had a great team, and we worked hard, and oh well, I can wish. And 4 years ago, 2 years ago, well, we know what happened there. At any rate, I showed up at a Tea Party event, and this is shortly after President Obama took office, and I spoke at Gilchrist Park. And I was concerned about cap and trade, I was concerned about health care, I was concerned about czars. In fact, I opened my big mouth and I suggested that if Mr. Obama wanted to be with czars, maybe he should go to Russia. Anyway, I got up and spoke for about 5 minutes, which if many of you know me, that's unique for me to limit it to 5 minutes. And next thing, people started talking to me, say, hey, you ought to run for the county commission. Make a long story short, I threw my hat in the ring, I ran for county commission, we ran a people-based campaign. I made only one promise. I said I have a great experiential background. I've done an awful lot of things in my life, and I've really been so blessed to have the opportunity that all I want to do, and the only promise I made is that I'm going to work hard, I'm going to work with people, and I'm going to try and make Charlotte County better for our kids and grandkids. And as I look back over the past almost 4 years, I feel pretty good about that, because I want to talk about some of the things I've been involved in, because this is what it's about. If you're in office, you have a record, and you have to stand on that. And I've never missed a vote. I've never missed a session. I was there a couple times after medical things. I probably should have stayed home. I looked a little green and pale, but I felt it was important to do it. Also, I pride myself on my constituent services. I don't schedule my appointments. Hobostyle did an article on me, and my wife Beth is in the back, and I'll kid her about that. I opened my trap, and I made the mistake of saying my life's controlled by 3.5 women. And Beth said, "Who's the half?" And I was instantly in trouble. But I don't schedule my appointments, in addition to the fact that I'll see and meet with anyone in the office, and I've literally met with people 7 days a week. I try to avoid Sunday mornings, but we've had meetings on every single day of the week. I also hold monthly feedback sessions where we invite the community to come in, and we have those every month. And we spend about an hour, and I don't talk. I listen. Yes, I do listen. It is true. I can do that sometimes. Let me talk about some of the issues and some of the things I pride myself in and what I feel really good about over the past 4 years. I worked real hard to build some bridges of cooperation in Charlotte County. If you think back 4 years ago, the Airport Authority was arguing with the County Commission over the name of the airport. The City Council was fighting with the Commission, and they weren't talking to each other because they were talking about the composition of the Metropolitan Planning Organization. They wanted another member. They were talking about taking over land in the county. We have a great working relationship with the airport. We have a good working relationship with the City Council. And more important than that, as a member of the MPO, I have helped to work and build some bridges of cooperation with the MPO to the south. Anyone here in this room ever drive Burke Store Road down at the southern end of the county? You know, I mean, I had two priorities. Two priorities in terms of road projects that were important to me. Number one was Burke Store Road, number two was River Road. Burke Store Road is all in Charlotte County, basically, most of it is, and it's a major evacuation route for Lee County. Short story is we had the first ever, we met with the MPO down there, we met with the people from Fort Myers, and we got them to go along with Port Charlotte and make repairing and finishing that road our number one priority. And that was important. And likewise, and I'll say this with Sarasota, we had a joint meeting with the MPO in Sarasota, and we said, hey, River Road is all in Sarasota County, but it's important to Port Charlotte because it's important to Charlotte County because that's our major evacuation route. Right. And I said, listen, we'll support you in this priority. And the MPO people, in all honesty, said, we don't have River Road as a priority in Sarasota County. And we said, well, guess what? And I said it at the meeting, and it was down in Venice, and I said, if you do that, make it a priority, we will back it and support it. And it's being made a priority now, and Charlotte County is going to work with Sarasota County, and I could say this, I'll be old and gray with a beard by the time it gets done, but eventually it's going to get done. I was going through the legislation. There's also a little niche we have, because if there's an access to a state park off a road, we might be able to play around. The state can do that road themselves if they're willing to do that. And we found that, we've talked about it, but you know, we're trying to work cooperatively because what's good for you guys is good for us and vice versa. I'm going to tell you about a half a dozen votes because they're very important. I've been willing to stand up and make the tough decision. Some of you may have heard that there was talk about putting a new landfill in Charlotte County. They wanted to put a dump there. We didn't need it. It wasn't for us, it was a regional landfill. It was going to serve Orlando, it was going to serve Miami, it was going to serve some other people. We also had some concerns how it would affect the underground aquifer. We did not know about that. We didn't know about the sheet flow. And there were some very prominent, respected business people who wanted that project. And it would have been good for them because it would have been financially a very positive thing for them. I felt Charlotte County didn't want it, and about 160,000 people in Charlotte County didn't want it either, if you want to look at the mail and the email, and I voted against it. Some of those business people were upset with me, but you know what? My job was to represent 160,000 people, not 12 people. Then they came in and they wanted to buy the Impact building. Some of you are familiar where the university used to be. The building was for sale for $3 million. Well, I did a little bit of homework, and I got hold of the engineering plan, the engineering critique that was done on that building when they sued the architect. The Impact building needed over $2.5 million in required repairs. If we had bought that building, it would have put $6 million on the taxpayers and taken that off the tax rolls. We defeated it. It wasn't a unanimous vote, but I voted against it because I thought it was a bad idea for Charlotte County. And also, one of the things, being on the commission, I spoke before a group, I guess it was actually in Englewood. We were down at the Gulfview Grill. I like the view from there. But the meeting was down at the Gulfview Grill, and we're sitting there, and someone said, you know, the commission's done a great job. I said, you know what? It's nice to hear that, and I appreciate that. Tell me that in 5 or 10 years. Because most of the problems we're dealing with now, most of the problems this commission is dealing with, we didn't create. We didn't create Murdoch Village. The sewer issue had been kicked down the road for about 10 years. We didn't create that. We had nothing to do with the lawsuits. I sat in court for 3.5 hours, 4 hours today listening to the Rotunda lawsuit. You know, we didn't create any of those things. We're trying to work with it. We're trying to do the best we can. But I think the important thing is what I'm able to do on the commission. As verbal as I am, people kid me about this. They say, you don't usually say anything to the ends of the meeting. And I said, well, that's true, because I sit back and I listen. I try and listen to everyone. And my agenda is simple. I didn't run for this office 4 years ago with an agenda. And my agenda is very simple now. I just want to draw upon my experience, draw upon my background, take the advantage of your input, and try and make the best decisions I possibly can for Charlotte County. And I'll make the same promise that I made before. My only goal, my only real agenda that I have is to try and make this place better for us, our kids, and their kids. Thank you very much for your patience. Stephen R. Deutsch. By the way, we have a grassroots campaign. We've been out waving signs on Placida Road. We've been down on McCall Road. We've got a whole bunch of stuff there. You're all invited to come have a hot dog with us next week. Thank you very much for your listening. Appreciate your coming out, and God bless you all.